Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Inters Racing League for your Saturday afternoon. We are at the penultimate round of the season on Tier 2. Excuse me, as I had a little bit of a cough in the background, but yeah, should be an absolute thriller. The second enduro of the season. Singapore, obviously, we saw a little bit of carnage there, as we know, but Austria, we saw a great Tier 3 race last night. Can't wait to get into Tier 2 tonight. And not only is it the Enduro round, we obviously got the battle between Red Bull and Aston Martin, Timmy v Wayne, to see who can come out on top. So it's going to be a thriller. We might see a little bit of shenanigans. As I said, I think we've seen a little bit of gamesmanship from both Red Bull and Aston. So it would not surprise me if we get a little bit tonight as well. But yeah, can't wait to get into this one. As I said, we're heading towards 71 laps of this 4.318 kilometre circuit. Quickest in terms of time on the F1 calendar, you're looking at about a minute 5 in terms of a quali lap time, minute 4. So it should be an absolute ripper. And quali, you sort of want to be right up the front to keep out of the lap 1 danger that we know can always happen around here in Austria. That tight turn 1. It's a long run up to turn 1, and we have seen instances in the past, especially in the midfield. So it's definitely going to be all important to qualify. And as I said, it is not one on lap 1, 71 laps. So it took Tier 3 about just under an hour and a half last night to complete all the 100% race distance. So we should be looking at that tonight. Switching over to the calendar, as if you said, second last round is the Enduro, and then we finish off next week in Abu Dhabi for the finale. And as I said, there's still both championships on the line here for Tier 2. We'll get to that in a minute, plus the overall. So if it's not this week, it's going to be next. But we'll have a look at our previous race results from Vegas. So as you can see, Dark and Shadow once again picking up the W in Vegas. Red Bull just ahead of the Alfa Romeo driver of the letter P. Great podium, as well as eBay Boy as well for McLaren up there. Medi just missing out. As you can sort of see, Marty B, unfortunately, the only driver that copped a penalty. So 10-second drop them from 11th down to 15th, scoring the final championship point. But yeah, so Red Bull versus 7th Aston was 4th and did not finish. So it was just a whole chunk of points that they lost last week. So it's going to be fascinating to see who can do it. Vicky's already put their person who think they could win tonight. And as I said, Letter P's been in great form and would not surprise me whatsoever that they see another victory. Looking at the driver's standings now, this is the all-important one. Matty AU has a 17-point lead over Medi coming into this afternoon's race. There are 48 points on offer for the race winner, so pretty much you double your points tally, I should say, from your normal point scoring position. So 48 points for a race win, 40 points for second place. So theoretically, you've got probably down until Dark and Shadow, who's still in the championship hunt, but you'd imagine it would just be Matty and Medi that will be fighting it out. So if Matty wants to walk away as championship winner tonight, he needs to have a lead of about 26 points due to Medi having more race wins, as you can see. So 25 points on offer next week for the win plus fastest lap. So if Matty can outscore Medi by about 9 points, which is definitely possible in this sort of race with double points on offer, he could walk out the championship, Tier 2 championship winner tonight. But obviously, if the top two have big issues, Buster could really capitalise. So, as I said, it's not completely over for Buster and Dark and Shadow, who's obviously had 4 wins and the third as well. Absolutely pretty near dominant since coming into the league halfway through the season. Looking at the constructors, Red Bull can technically wrap this up tonight as well. So there is 45 points on offer next week. So if they can outscore Alpine by 7 points, they can wrap up the Tier 2 Constructors title as well. Aston obviously still in the hunt because you've got 88 points. 90 points on offer. 48 for the win, 40 for second, and then 2 points for fastest lap. Reminding that you have to finish inside the top 10 as well. So all these numbers will come into play. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on it later on in the race. As I said, we've got to get through the first half of the race first before we even think about where these guys are. But Red Bull, Alpine, Aston have to just make sure that they're at the end to score maximum points. But the ball's in Red Bull's court. But as I said, if they have a shocker tonight, Alpine and Aston can definitely try and capitalise going into next week. So should be interesting as we switch to the overalls. This is going to be the big talking point. Red Bull and Aston Martin, 73 points. But as I said, this endurance round so late on in the season, with double points on offer, it's absolutely crucial that you get both your cars to the checkered flag after the end of 71 laps, because you could really score some great points. And looking at the results from last night, obviously highly provisional, because I have a feeling there may be a couple of penalties thrown out. So Aston Martin was sort of your bigger winner. J-Man picking up all 48 points. Wayne finishing in P8. So, and Red Bull with Timmy in third and Beng in P10. So Aston definitely clawed into that gap just a little bit. But again, obviously penalties, we'll have to obviously wait and find out in terms of that. But Aston at the moment has eaten into that 73-point lead. As we switch over to our track details now. So this is what you're looking at. 71 laps, 4.318 kilometres, 10 corners. Your fastest lap, 105.619 by Carlos Sainz in 2020. As I said, there's not a... It's about middle of the road for everything. Tyre stress, your braking, your lateral movement, your downforce, all about a 3. Obviously long straights out of the last corner all the way up into turn 4. That's pretty much your 3 DRS zones. And a bit of a asphalt abrasion, bit of traction issues. That's your main point. You need to get great exits out of the corners, otherwise you're going to be in a little bit of trouble. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, the softest of the Pirelli compounds, the C3, the C4, and the C5, being used tonight. And looking at our lineups, I believe we've actually got a full grid, so I don't believe there are any reserves. So it's going to be fascinating to see sort of what happens. Obviously, all our championship contenders are in the race, so yeah, it's going to be interesting. These guys maybe just have to learn a little bit of patience. As I said, not one on the first. As Ads just let me know, thank you. Sam is in for MX, so that's the late replacement. So Sam will be in the AlphaTauri for tonight. So I've just seen him hop in on screen. So as we have a look at our gameplay, you can see it is overcast, and hopefully for myself, if I program this right, as you can see, we have overcast conditions. Going to get a little bit better towards the end of the session. So, but it's going to be overcast conditions for both quali and the race. We shouldn't see any rain in either session, so should be a good one to see. Now, have all the drivers been very nice to me and shared their data, hopefully. No, they haven't. Unfortunate, but that's all right. We can cheat and use. Get rid of that. Chuck the Inters logo back on. But should be a good one tonight, as we've got cars coming out of the pit lane now. So as we can see, you're looking at the top speed about 320 kilometres an hour. Downforce is low. Your tyre wear is medium around here just because you need to get the exits. But obviously you can see full throttle. You're pretty much at 80%, 4/5 of the track, you're at full throttle. So it should be a fascinating one tonight. So who are we going to follow on a lap? I think we might follow one of our top contenders, I think. So we've got Darkin still in the pit lane. That will probably be Maddie on an out lap. So championship lead at the moment. Remember, all important to get that result tonight. Just needs to finish. As where do I want that? We'll take that off. So I reckon we're right on board with Matty AU. Get that. So we'll have a look as we come into turn number 1. Down the DRS straight as he hits about 323 kilometres an hour. As we, nice exit, and I actually get a little bit of a tow from one of the cars behind, hopefully gets out of the way, most certainly does. As we flick that on as well, so coming into turn 3 now. DRS, so 3 DRS zones, so plenty of passing opportunities, especially down here at turn number 4. Was a nice line through there, can't get it too greedy on the throttle on the exit. And now this tricky middle sector of the track. We've seen plenty of spins off the curb there, so the guys have to be a little bit careful. Matty's slightly down on the best time that we've seen so far. And it's pretty much just 2 corners left to go. Around turn number 9 now. As we'll flick that on as well. Final corner, kept it valid, crosses the line, and is just behind Brian Bromley, as you can see people in the final sector. So good lap time there from Matty AU, puts it in P2. So as we have a look, White Cake's on the intermediate tyres, so won't be setting a quick first lap. Goes just behind the teammate in NATO on an 8-1 as a battle cat going on the compound, soft compounded tyres. Goes into P5, so solid lap time for both Alpha and Romeo drivers. Let it be up into P5. Vicky's pick for tonight's race. We had, I believe that was Centre Racing going into P7. Remember the newly signed Williams driver, Centre Racing, so we'll see how they can go tonight. As we've got Marty B at the moment on a bit of a flyer. So at the moment, your fastest sectors, Brian, in P1, in Sector 1 and Sector 2 are quickest, and Matty, we knew, was quickest in the final sector, as we saw earlier. So Marty coming through turn 7, that switches back to turn 8. Got to be careful, track limits there as well. Devo, how are you? Should be a very good night of action tonight. With both Tier 2 championships on the line. Could be one tonight as Marty B crosses the line and it only goes P10 on the 5-7. Sam, the late driver that's joining us, replacing MX, who was a late out. And Sam goes into the top 7, 5 flat. So at the moment it's a 4-4. How's Mitty going? Getting a little bit of a tow. So he's on a flyer. We'll bring the tyre information up. So Mitty, he knows what his role is. He needs to beat Matty tonight to have any chance of the championship next week in Abu Dhabi. And Matty's won one more race over Matty AU. As we come into a little bit of traffic, hopefully it won't disturb his car too much. Hopefully they get out of the way as well. That got a little bit messy. But he's going to have a wooze behind him that's about to start a lap. He might get a little bit of dirty air. Round the final corner. Oh, I don't think Matty would have been too happy with that, but Matty crosses the line and goes into the top 5. I'd imagine not particularly pleased about getting the block, so But well, obviously, it's a solid lap at least at the moment that they've put in. As I said, we still got 10.5 minutes left to go in the session. So still plenty of time to get another couple of times on the board. As it is a very, very quick out lap. Flyer and then in lap around here. As Dark and Shadows goes, provisional pole a 4-1. That's a quick lap time from the driver that's probably in the best form of this whole lot. Yeah, I would not be surprised if we do dip into the threes here. Ooh, bit of a snap there, just I think getting out of the way. So who else have we got on a lap? Granny is starting their second flyer. So currently on a 4-9. So rounding our third corner. So 9.5 minutes left to go in the session. So turn 4. So it's looking like a solid lap at the moment. We come into turn number 7. Switch back to 8. So needs to get a little bit more pace. He's not too far off, say, letter P, but needs to find about 0.4 of a second as they round the final corner. Granny, can they move up further up the field? And does just that. Goes into P5 on a 4.515. So great lap time there. As we got further down the field, we got Liquid Jake that hasn't actually set a lap time. We had, I believe that was Luke Fellow go into the top 8 on a 4.7. Oh, we had a spin at the back. That was one of the McLarens. I think that may have been possibly eBay Boy. We'll just follow Liquid Jake's lap to the end. Crosses the line and goes into the top 6, 4.5. Must need it. I think that might have been eBay Boy with the spin. It was. So it's corrected themselves. I don't believe they picked up any wing damage. Maybe a slight discoloration with one of the end plates, but I think they should still be fine. They're going to go around once again to do another lap. Matty AU, his second lap time now. So as we follow Matty. So that player on the top right at hand of your screen, so that'd be Darken, that's his teammate. So rounding turn 5. Sorry, turn 6, I should say. Now turn 7. So we're slightly up on his time. So he will jump Brian. As Nana goes into the top 2. Great lap time from Native Yan. But we're watching Matty coming through the final corner. Can Matty get back onto that front row? Not quite. So improved over Brian. No, not really any pace improvement in the final sector. Oh, so actually does. I was looking at NATO's time, but no, Matty does find that 10th to get onto the front row. So as we try and find someone else. So how's Quiet Cake doing? He's invalidated his lap time. Currently last of the 20-car field at the moment. So we have 6.5 minutes left to go in the session. So a lot of these guys will be thinking about their final run. Be interesting to see if they do save a set of softs. But no, Devo, yeah, your time last night, obviously very competitive with this group. As I think we've got a lot of the drivers just coming into the pit lane or about to start their next lap time. So we'll watch Medi. See how his speed's going. Marty B's retired from the session. Was that out on track? It most certainly was. Looks like out of the final corner. So Marty B will be starting this from near plumb last. Second last row of the field as we watch Medi. So you can see hitting about 280 kilometres through turn 6. As his second sector split, he's green, but he is still slightly down on Dark and Shadow. One more sector to go. This will still move him up. Round turn number 9. And he's turned his battery off. So he must have made a little bit of a mistake. So it crosses the line. That's nothing. So I'd imagine we'll try and recharge the battery and go once again. Faster sectors. We got play for all 3, but I believe that'd be Dark and Shadow quickest in sector 1 and 3, and it'd be NATO quickest in sector 2. Callie jumps into the top 10 on a 4.6. Jeneth coming through the middle sector now. So both Ferraris just inside the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. This pairing has done well. Sometimes luck hasn't gone for them at some points throughout the season, but they've been definitely right up there. Jeneth, can they find some time very quick in qualifying trim and does move just behind Liquid Jake and Granny on a 4.6, but inside the top 10. How's Buster doing? So Buster 3rd in the championship. Needs the top 2 to really have a poor weekend. So coming down the 3rd DRS straight. So Buster in the Alpine. So Buster's best lap time of 4.7 at the moment. 1 sector to go, slightly down, but green in the middle sector. As we round turn number 9. 2 corners left to go. Solid turn 9, solid turn 10. Managed to keep all 4 wheels within the track and goes P4, 4.315, only just behind Matty. As Nato, we've missed his lap, unfortunately, a 4.1, so doing fantastic work. And he's only just off Dark and Shadow. How's a Battle Cat doing on a lap time? We've just got under 3 minutes left to go in the session. As Quiet Cake's retired in the pit lane, so unfortunately Quiet Cake will be starting from plumb last in this endurance race. As we round in turn number 7, a little bit of traffic, purple in the middle sector. So at least he's up on his time. Only a 4.8, but you can just see it's very close between all the guys. Battlecat comes across the line. Goes just behind his teammate, but that's a better starting position for the Cat. 4.478. Liquid Jake is on a lap time now, starting their lap. I will just quickly switch to Sam. How's he going? He's in the third at turn 3. Nato still on those 4-lap-old soft compounded tyres, so will not have time to come back in. So maybe just saving a set of softs. But I imagine Nato surely wouldn't be up once again. Those softs surely wouldn't be too bad. Or too good. No, this is not too bad. He still actually went 3rd. He went purple in the middle sector. Stays in P2, but just creeps closer to Dark and Shadow. Problem is, may not actually have any more time. So just imagine if they had actually come in for a fresh set. Might be starting on pole, but still the front row's a great effort at the moment. Sam is, I think, maybe backed out of it, so we'll watch Liquid Jake. Buster's retired from 4th. Liquid Jake comes across the line, slips in just behind Buster on a 4.327. As Brian did set the early pace earlier on in the session. Just want to try and catch these guys who are about to finish their lap. I think the Battle Cat potentially going again. Crosses the line. Stays 8th, but this will be their last flying lap. So Darkened Shadows crosses the line to start their final one, same as Maddie. So we got one of the Ferraris. Is it Greddy? Starting one. We'll get that up. So Callie, first one across the line. I think Callie crosses the line, goes into the top 3. Fantastic lap time from the Williams driver. Couple of tenths off of pole. Brian crosses the line and improves slightly, stays P7. So couldn't increase his time as the letter P goes 4.141. But where's Darkened Shadows? He's one of the drivers that we want to see. He's up by a tenth. That will get him back pole position. Two corners left to go. Round one. Round the other. Crosses the line. Do we get into the threes? No, we don't, but he takes a provisional pole back. How about Matty? Crosses the line. Unfortunately stays in P5. So no movement there. So letter P, sort of, I won't say from nowhere, but was hovering inside the top 10 easily. But what a lap to put in. And I think we're all done here. Unless Senna can do something about it. Or eBay Boy. Watch eBay Boy coming around the final corner. Up by about 2 tenths. This will move him closer to the front. Goes into the top 4. 4.266. Who was it? Senna is done. So it's Darkened Shadows who gets pole position for the Tier 2 endurance race. Fantastic pace. So fantastic drive from all of our top 4 great laps in. Quick look at our sectors. Letter P quickest in the second sector. Nado was quickest in the final sector. You'd imagine Darkened Shadow was quickest in the first because he got pole somehow. But all 3 drivers having 3 separate fastest sectors. So barely anything to cover. And as I said, 4 flat. You scroll all the way down to around Greddy was a 4-4, so not a lot covering this entire field. So as we have a look at our results, Darkened Shadow will start on pole position, I should say, ahead of the letter P and NATO, but all 3 of them within a tenth of a second. eBay Boy, great lap, to put it in P4. Callie in 5th, Maddie in 6th, ahead of his championship rival. Buster in P7, Liquid Jake in 8th, Brian in 9th, Battle Cat in 10th. Maddie, unfortunately, down in P11, so didn't get the lap time, but again, he's only 3 tenths off pole. That's how close this field is. Grady in 12th, Center Racing in 13th, Jenneth in 14th, Sam in 15th, Luke in 16th, Warder Cornet in 17th, Swiss Lord in 18th, Marty B with that crash, unfortunately starting on the back row alongside Quiet Cake, who didn't actually put in a representative lap time. So, what a race that we got in store for us. So, dry conditions at the moment. We'll have a quick look at our drivers' standings. As I said, Matty AU 17 points ahead, but remember, 48 points on offer for the race win. As I said, Buster's not completely out of it as well, but he needs the top 2 to really have a bit of a mare of a race this afternoon. And then, of course, our constructors' standings for Tier 2. As I said, we got a 39-point lead over Red Bull over Alpine, and remember that gap has to be 46 points for Red Bull to take the title this afternoon. Oh, Luke, I'd love for you to hop in with myself because this is going to be a long race as it is, about an hour and a half, so more than welcome to have you in. But we do have the 5 red lights. And we are underway. Yellow flags are still waving, but it looks like a good, solid start from Darkened Shadows. as we had a bit of a Williams having a moment further back down the field, but we're all cleanly through, at least with the top guys. As we've got Maddie and Callie. Maddie needs to get the move done on the Williams as we head up into turn number 1, the little P, trying to go around the outside. Darkin covered that. As we've got a little bit of a lunge further back, but we're all still facing the right way. Remember, 71 laps, so you don't need to risk it all on lap 1. So Dark and Shadow from the letter P. Nato stays in P3. eBay Boy in 4th. Callie, Buster. Matty AU loses a spot to Buster on the inside. So Matty needs to go the other way. Matty's down in 13th, so he hasn't had the greatest start either. He knows he needed to get through turn 1 cleanly. Maybe a little bit extra cautious as Matty trying to stick the nose up at turn 7, not really place your overtake. So just needs to get through this first stint. We'll have a look at our tyre for all drivers. Sam on the hard compounded tyres. Only one on that. We've got, who's that? I think that is Jenneth in for damage. No, it's Medi in for damage. Our championship contender, the worst possible start for Medi, picks up front wing damage. So we'll have a lot to do, but thankfully it's early on and can still come back a fair chunk of the way. eBay Boy down the inside of NATO. So great move there down the inside. So eBay Boy up into the podium positions once again. So we got a battle further back. Swiss Lord, Luke and Jenneth. So Jenneth losing quite a few spots on the... Oh, and that got close to contact. It was Jenneth having a bit of a moment, but still facing the right direction. Meanwhile, up the front, better get me live time and back up so I can see sort of what's happening. Thank you. And Letter P just got to be trying to stick with the darker shadows because DRS will now be activated. Darkened Shadows, fastest lap of the race as well. He's trying to break the letter P. But nothing doing. Yeah, unfortunately, Darken's not showing us his data. I said letter P in the Alfa Romeo. So, can't really see. There we go. We'll have a look at the speeds coming through. So letter P just trying to hang in there. The gap is nearly outside 1 second. Really needs to get a move on. As we got to move further back, and Callie actually just went a little bit defensive. And you can just see the gap on screen. It's getting close. Matty might have a bit of a look down the inside. I think he thinks better of it. He'll wait for a DRS straight. It's a bit too risky, as I said. Matty cannot afford to have an incident this afternoon. As we're right on board, Matty, does he go down the inside at turn 1? We've got to spin at the back. Not sure if Luke's hit the wall or not, but we'll keep an eye on it. You can see Matty's ERS. He has DRS. Does he send the move down the inside? He does. Cully did a nice job hanging around the outside. So Matty will have to go again. He's got to be careful from Buster as well. Buster, does he lunge it? No, he doesn't. Buster's smarter. Buster's, smarter than that. So as we head around the middle part of the lap, as I said, we're only on lap 4, but we've still got plenty of time left to go. So as we do that, I will try and do that. So Luke, if you can hear me, where the tier 2 chat is, you should be able to see the comms chat that I'm in. I'll try and get you back in. So I'll turn that up so we can hear him. So yeah, just join that whenever you can. As Luke's now in the session. So we should be hearing his lovely voice very shortly, coming up into turn number 3 now. eBay Boy just hanging on. Letter P's lost DRS, unfortunately. So that's going to be a big blow. So as we come into turn number 4. So Dark and Shadows can now just push away a little bit, but again, we know safety cars can be common around here, so he may just try and just make sure that he can extend this tyre life, maybe just to get him into a spot where if there is a safety car, he hasn't made his one of his pit stops, I should say. You'd imagine a medium soft. Do a 2-stop, probably the quickest way around here. But you could take the hards a very long way. So lap 671, Dark and Shadows, as I said, not miles out front, 1.4, but the letter P has got a couple of issues, and that is a move done. So great pass from eBay Boy. Does he manage to pull it up? He does, but he's just got to be careful about letter P trying to fight him back down at turn number 4. He'll have the DRS, he'll have the slipstream, but he's not going to go for it. So letter P, fantastic. eBay Boy, fantastic battle and up into P2. He's the one making moves at the moment. As we have a look at his race story, started 4th, he's already up into P2. Well, we do that. Luke, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to Tier 2. Thank you for hopping in, because yeah, this would have been a long race if I was on it by myself. But you've joined a fascinating race. We know how endurance races can go, but Dark and Shadows looking the goods at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. He was rapid in qualifying there. He did a really fantastic lap on a 104 flat. Yeah, he's DRS against eBay Boy, and that is going to be critical for his race. We already have a few people picking up penalties, including Carly, P6, already picking up 3 seconds for track limits. As he said, a very long race. This will be a real test of the driver's stamina and their ability to concentrate, because it's an hour and a half at best. If there's a safety car or multiple safety cars, that can stretch out even more. So drivers will be feeling good now, but by the time they cross the threshold past lap 36, which is when they would normally end the race, into the 40s and 50s, that is when we'll start to see fatigue. As the letter P does get past eBay Boy, this battle for P2 is going to be helping Dark and Shadows just to eke away a little bit further out in front.
Yeah, as we see Liquid Jake versing Carly as well, so I think Liquid Jake getting the move up into P7. So on the soft compounded tyres as well. So one of 2 drivers got on the softs. Marty B's moved up from 19th to 13th, so he has made some moves. Medi and Swiss Lord are other 2 drivers that have had to make pit stops due to damage. But yeah, it's fascinating. Yellow flag. It is Luke, I believe. Yeah, Luke, unfortunately, in the middle sector. So that'd be just a spin off the curb. There's not really any walls close to the track in that particular spot, so we'll remain green. But as you said, letter P and eBay Boy, they're fighting close as we got another yellow flag. So we'll keep an eye on that as Nato tries to do a double overtake. And he gets it done. Can he pull it up in time? Letter P will try and do the switchback, but didn't have the exit that he wanted. Great double overtake from Nato down into turn 3. Just had an absolute ripper exit off turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff, and he's been able to keep the position down the next DRS straight. So he's up to P2. This got a very nice gaggle of cars from now Nato all the way down to I think that's the Ferrari of Granny, is it? No, even Senna's just about keeping in this DRS train. So we have a massive train from P2 to P12. So that is going to help people like Senna, like Granny, just to keep up, just to go with the pace of the leaders. And just to help them save fuel as well. If they've underfueled the car or kept the fuel relatively light, the DRS, all that drag reduction will certainly help them. So lovely train at the moment. Dark and Shadow is quite lucky not to be caught up in it, but it is, as I said earlier, helping him massively to escape from the cars behind us. Senna picks up 3 seconds for his track limits transgressions. But yeah, it's been pretty clean out front. Pretty clean, I think, across basically the entire grid, apart from, of course, unfortunately, Medi, one of the championship protagonists, has, as you said earlier, he's lost his. He had to pit for damage. As we have another yellow flag, that is at turn 3. We have Quiet Cake gone. He's gone for a little spin. Don't know if he got a helping hand in doing so, but Quiet Cake, unfortunate there for him in the Haas, down to P17. So yeah, it's pretty clean as a bird decides it wants to get its opinion in outside my window. Thank you for that. But yeah, it's been pretty clean so far from the Tier 2 boys, and they can't really complain so far.
Yeah, and I think you've sort of done enough racing around here. I've done a couple of races with you this season in other leagues that you just once you get stuck in that DRS train, there's not a lot you can really do except just wait, bide your time, and then if the car in front makes a little bit of mistake, then you can sort of bide your opportunity if you're not near that front. And as I said, we're seeing Brian, we're seeing Callie. They're just sort of stuck at the moment, obviously all behind NATO, and NATO's just starting to close in that gap to Dark and Shadows, but the letter P, will they go for the move? Backs out of it, and thankfully eBay Boy sort of pays attention, and you've got to do that. Pay attention in the middle of this train, because you never know when someone just breaks that little bit earlier and could cost a slam up the backside. So, as I think Brian's lost another spot, if I'm not mistaken, but as I said, Liquid Jake's... No, sorry, it was Liquid Jake that actually moved up. So he's using those softs very, very well. Obviously, needs to go a long way. About 20% his tyres are at the moment after 9 laps. So your standard soft tyre, but in endurance race, it is a viable strategy, isn't it, using the soft compounder tyres just because how many laps, and they can be quite quick, as Luke Fallow picks up a 3-second time penalty. So yeah, Soft's looking the goods at the moment.
Yeah, the soft tyres do become very viable in the 100% race, and in fact, the hard tyres become less tenable. Because people find that you can probably get away with 2 softer compounds and they'll be just as quick as trying to do 1 longer run on a harder tyres. We've got letter P going, it looks like he wants to take the head of the train right now. But yeah, you're completely right in that once you're stuck in these DRS trains, you have to expend so much energy to get through them that by the time you're getting through them, you're leaving yourself vulnerable because you're using overtake mode, like Buster is to get past Liquid Jake just now, but that means he's going to be down on overtake mode, which makes it easier for Liquid Jake then if he wants to attack to get back past. So it's really about trying to sort of keep your energy up, keep your ERS up. A lot of ERS management is absolutely critical. This isn't helping Jake. He would have wanted to fly through this train, as you said, use those soft tyres while the iron's hot, but he just can't get through it. He's going up and down like a yo-yo. 20% after 10 laps is pretty decent tyre wear. You'd expect him to probably go to lap 20 before he pits onto a set of mediums, but it will put him at disadvantage because he's got the softest compound out of the way. Those ahead of him, they can go soft or hard at their pit stops. Jake has to go to a harder step of compound for his next stop unless he wants to do another set of softs, but that would obviously probably mean he's going to have to go to a U set depending on how many runs he did in qualifying. Obviously you get 3 sets, and if he's done 2 runs and he's used his first set now, then he will not have any fresh set for the rest of the race, especially if there's a late safety car. That could be really costly. In fact, he's coming under a little bit of threat from Carly. He's trying to go around the outside. There's NATO and eBay Boy fighting really heavily into turn 3. They've lost a shed load of time to the letter P, who's now possibly escaped this DRS train. They'll be fighting a bit more down into turn 4, as Brian Bromley and JTE Carly are also fighting, and Liquid Jake, his ERS light is flashing. So that just shows you how much Jake has had to use to try and get through this field, and he's coming under threat. Those medium tyres will start now to be the superior compound.
Yeah, so he stalled a little bit. He got passed back by Buster, so he maybe just a little bit of mistake out of turn 1 that allowed that to happen. Meanwhile, this eBay NATO Matty battle, that has allowed Letter P to get out of DRS range. He was about 7/10 coming into turn 1 at the last corner, as I think we've lost Marty B. He's had a spin, and that is front wing damage. You can see the left end plate gone. So he's had a spin off you'd imagine the turn 8 curb, and has spun it into the wall. Thankfully still in this race. No safety car at the moment, so we still remain green. But NATO and eBay Boy, so all the battling these two are doing, it helps Letter P get away, as we've also got a battle between Callie, Liquid Jake. Brian Bromley's actually gone off track, so maybe just a little bit too hot on into turn 3, and unfortunately he's right at the back of this train now, so he's lost a good 4 positions, unfortunately, from that. So he'll try and correct himself. But Letter P is closing in on Dark and Shadows as well. Keep that in mind. As you can see, the last lap, quite quick in the second sector as well. He's not having to worry about defending is the Letter P. So he actually is within DRS by the time, as we saw a little bit of a snap from Dark and Shadows. So coming across the line, as we got a yellow flag, that is the Mercedes in the wall at turn 1, I believe. As you can
about to go a lap down.
Yeah, so really unfortunate. Yellow flagged out, so no overtaking. but Letter P another 4/10 quicker than Dark and Shadow. So Letter P's really hustling, and he's back within DRS and right on the back of the Red Bull. So Letter P is doing nicely. I know Wicked Vicky was picking Letter P to win this race. He's doing a fantastic job at the moment. We'll wait and see if Nato and eBay can actually try and maybe settle the fighting down a little bit and try and close up into this this battle for P1. But again, we're 14 laps into 71, as it's still a long way left to go, and unfortunately, Luke's having an absolute shocker at the moment. A lap down now, and I think probably will have wing damage.
Yeah, lap down. Obviously, you always got to keep going in this situation. Never give up, because you never know what's going to happen. His rear tyres are overheated. He is oversteering like nobody's business. But Letter P really doing the job here to close up to Shadows. He, as you said, broke away from the pack of cars from P2 downwards, as Dark and Shadows weaving down the straight, as is Letter P. So I don't know if they're trying to do some sort of communication here, as eBay Boy gets past NATO into turn 1. So if the top 2 start fighting, then suddenly they could find themselves very quickly dragged back into the, as I say, Luke's keep going. He retires in the pits, our first retirement of the day. But if the top 2 keep fighting, which they might do, because Letter P's looking to the inside, Dark and Shadows has slightly outbroken himself, but I think he's going to get the better exit. He is. If these two start fighting really hard, then eBay Boy and NATO could suddenly be on the back. Matty AU's gone up past NATO, so the as things stand championship winner, as things stand, a lot can change. He's got a very long way to go in this race, up to P4. So he's now, you can see the leaders, and he knows his championship rival is down in P16. So Matty AU, as things stand, probably feeling pretty comfortable as to how things are going. And eBay Boy is closing in 1.1, 1.0. Can he get within DRS range of the Letter P? He's probably going to have to do a big push in this final sector, but suddenly we can see a big link up here of the top 3 drivers as Senna picks up 3 seconds for his track limit transgressions. And eBay Boy is going to get DRS. He's 9/10. He will. So here we go. eBay Boy has now dragged the rest of the field along with him. And Dark and Shadows, quite nice lead of 1.8 seconds a few laps ago, is going to be basically nothing, because he now has everyone from P2 or P3 down to P11 on his tail. So that's probably not going to help his situation, although eBay Boy has lost DRS again, going up into turn 1. So the this battle for the lead, I think that's just begun, is going to be lasting for quite some time.
Yeah, and I think that sort of hurt. He got DRS. Problem is, Letter P actually I felt like he had a great exit out of turn 10 and was sort of probably not burning to get to Darken, but he had such a good exit that his DRS actually outshone eBay's boys. But so we actually lost it, but you can see gaps half a second now as Marty B picks up a 3-second time penalty, and it's absolutely crucial, as we've sort of mentioned it early on, that you need to keep it penalty free. We know how easy it is to pick up track limit warnings around this place, and I think a lot of the drivers, there was only a couple of drivers last night that managed to get through the race without a penalty. So if you can actually keep it within the track, not if you do that, as Battlecat is out of this race. Big snap of the rear, and unfortunately has taken Granny with him. Thankfully, Granny's still in this race, but we have a virtual safety car. Saw that, got an absolute perfect view of that. You could just see the Battlecat gets out of all sorts in turn 7, and unfortunately, that is the cat out of this one.
Yeah, it's a massive shame for Battlecat and for the Ferrari of Granny. Liquid Jake has jumped on the opportunity to get off those soft tyres. He's going to the hard, so he's going to go for a long second stint here, possibly looking to, probably would have waited, he probably would have wanted to pit a little, he's probably pitted a little earlier than he would have liked to, so that's possibly a way on hards to then sort of make up for the fact that he lost, or has lost his ideal pitting time. Going to rejoin in P10 just alongside Jennifer Lee. Jennifer, I think, got ahead at the safety car line. Yep, Jennifer takes the position. So the leaders were unfortunately already round the past the pit lane entrance when this virtual safety car was called. Obviously, a virtual safety car can be sometimes a bit of a gamble, as Jennifer Lee's, I don't know, he's gone sideways, as JT Carley's got a drive through.
Yeah, unfortunate, as Letter P leads us away from the VSC, as we've got Jeneth getting past Liquid Jake. So Brian on the soft compounder tyres as well, so obviously knows he'll get an undercut on the leaders, and will try and actually get a bit of a benefit knowing that it was never a full safety car. And as I said, he can probably do a soft then a medium to the end around here, as we've got Quiet Cake on the soft compounder tyres fighting Voider. As we make our run into that, you can just see the speed from Quiet Cake, has the inside line down at turn 4, and will take the position up into P15. So Medi, I didn't even make a pit stop, so he's still on 15 lap old medium tyres. This is the worst case scenario for Medi. He needs a safety car to close back up Maddie will be hoping no safety cars all race long. But Kelly comes in and he's just in a battle with Liquid Jake and Jenneth and Brian as well. As Jenneth quickly tries to get to the right-hand side of the track, we're going to see 4 cars into 1. And Jenneth just getting a little bit, and there's contact. So Brian, unfortunately, having contact, so whether Brian had the outside line, Jenneth maybe moved across him, or unfortunately, Brian just had the better traction out of the corner and then just tapped the rear. So, should be no damage for either car. I think they got away with it, they sure did. But yeah, that's really hurt Brian. He's lost 4 seconds to where he was. And Liquid Jake, remember, is the first driver that has made a pit stop in this one. But again, still over 50 laps left to go in the Tier 2 endurance round at Austria. Buster picks up a 3-second time penalty, so one of our big hitters to having a 3 second. So he's at the back of the 6-car trainer out the front, but that's going to hurt Buster, especially because he can't really afford. He's got a new fresh set of warnings he can get. That's going to hurt him, especially Salwan getting that penalty.
Yeah, it hurts your confidence because suddenly you're like, I've made these 3 mistakes, I've been penalised now for it, and suddenly you get quite on edge. You think, I've got to cut that down, especially in a race of this length, and then you start being careful, and being careful can cost you time. Buster currently in the back of this train. Interesting that Jake has gone hards. He has started soft, so he could have gone mediums, but he's gone hards to go long. And he should generally be catching this train. Obviously, they'll be pulling away from him through the DRS zones, but through the twisty and tight Sector 2 in Sector 3, he should be gaining on those fresh hards. But he's definitely going to be going long, possibly to do mediums at the end. The leaders are sticking out. They want a tyre difference. They want a tyre delta to Liquid Jake. Liquid Jake's definitely undercut them. He got a full pit stop under virtual, so he's saved a buttload of time, and he's gaining on them now. So that is the leaders now. Their main plan has to be to stick it long. And yes, they'll come up behind Liquid Jake. They'll sacrifice track position, but this is hardly a Monaco. You can very easily overtake through here. As Brian Bonney does a 7 flat, so he may have made contact with Jennifer Lee, but he is absolutely rapid out there. So they're going to try and get a tyre delta, try and get much fresher tyres so they can be past Liquid Jake. Liquid Jake has rolled the dice. He's gambled on that virtual. He gambled on the hard tyres, and we'll have to see how much time and positions he can make up. I think he was P8, 7 or 8 when he made his pit stop. Currently in P8, so he hasn't really lost that much because a few people have pitched around him. But fascinating to see what the leaders go on to. Will we see a divergence in strategy? Who will go first? Who will react? Who will try and undercut? Who will overcut? And will we see any more of these safety cars? So it's a very fascinating race playing out here.
Yeah, and you'd imagine that the mediums could still go a long way. As you can see, the tyre wear on screen now, as it's not bad for a medium tyre that's done 20 laps. So, as I said, these guys can still stick it out more. Obviously, the fresh rubber will be good, but if you can really extend this tyre wear, it will really put you in a great position later on in this race. And as I said, these 6 cars still sort of in a pack by themselves. Just having a quick look. Liquid Jake's about 17 seconds off the lead of this one. Obviously, it's not the longest pit lane as we see as eBay Boy trying to get past Dark and Shadows. So these two, if they really start having a scrap, that can really force Letter P to try and break this DRS. But nothing doing, unfortunately. So eBay Boy stuck in P3. Brian gets up into P9 on those brand new soft compounded tyres. Kelly, 20-lap-old mediums, just struggling just a tad. But Brian, they will need to start hurrying in. But as I said, he's gone early. But with that little moment at turn 3 a couple of laps ago, it's cost him a lot of time compared to where he would have wanted to be. As we got Letter P, I think, coming into the pit lane, you've got to be careful about the pit line because you will get penalised if you cut that. So Letter P, Matty AU and Nada all coming in, same as Buster. So Dark and Shadows and eBay Boy are the 2 that will stay out. And you'd imagine eBay Boy should get a nice run through turn 1 and should take the lead of this one.
Yeah, around the outside, using some ERS, he gets well past before turn 3. Let's see, Letter P's gone hard, Matty's gone mediums, and Nato's gone softs, and Buster's gone medium. So all 3 tyre compounds have been selected for this second stint. Liquid Jake has jumped them all by about 2 seconds. Green pit lane lost time here is 19 seconds, and as you said, he was 17 seconds behind. But yeah, the medium tyres are lasting really well. 25% is normally sort of the big number that drivers will look at. 25% is normally when the tyre wear really sort of starts to hit a cliff, and then obviously 50% is when it is really, really dire from then on. So a long way to go for those mediums to hit 50%. But as we got Brian Bromley diving down the inside of Letter P. So Letter P's gone hard. He wants to go long now. He's gone to he might want to go back. He might want to go into a set of softs to end this race. So he wants to pay the piper now, get the long, a difficult set out of the way as the eBay Boy and Shadows both pit. So we have the remaining group of leaders in the pit lane. Interesting to see what these guys will go on to. They won't really know what their rivals have gone on to unless they're listening in to the broadcast. It's going to be a set of the mediums for eBay Boy 3 does and for Darken. So they've got to pit again, naturally. They haven't quite done their 2 obligatory sets. Sam will take the lead, but Liquid Jake is right behind him, and I expect a move from Liquid Jake possibly down the run into turn 4. He's a bit too far back to get him into turn 3. And yeah, they have been jumped. eBay Boy Dark and Shadows will come out behind NATO. This group's still all together, and they're basically on very different strategies. You'd expect NATO to be quick now. He has got past Matty AU on those soft tyres. He's now got to try and bolt. Letter P has got to try and keep himself out of DRS range of the cars behind. He's on the worst tyres, as Liquid Jake does indeed get the move done on the run down to turn 4. So Liquid Jake leads, but he is on hard tyres, and the cars behind him have just come in for fresh mediums and softs. So his lead is possibly on borrowed time, so that is definitely something to look out for. First pit stops have more or less been made by those apart from Sam, so the strategies are diverging, and that's what I love about 100% race. As NATO's gone, NATO's in the gravel, so I compliment him, say he's doing really well. He gets 3 seconds for his sins, and not sure what happened there, if he got a helping hand or if he just made a mistake pushing hard, but everyone has more or less made a pit stop already. So I love 100% races just because of how strategic they are.
Yeah, and I'm surprised he actually didn't pick up any damage from that too, because it seemed like it was a hard hit into the wall, but Nato's still in there on the soft compounder tyres as well, so we've seen drivers jumping onto the soft compounder tyres, just having mistakes, whether their own or not, their own fault or not, but just not using the best of their ability. But Brian gets past Sam now, needed to do that to get a bit of clear air, and Sam sort of is a little bit stuck, obviously potentially trying to do the one stop, the hard onto a set of medium tyres, you'd imagine, but he's going to be under a little bit of trouble or pressure from the letter P, who does send the move down the inside. Sam's going to try and fight him back, but won't have the traction around the outside. So letter P up into P3. So it's now Matty's turn to get past the slow Alpha. I won't say super slow, but just slowish, just with the old tyres. So Matty needs to take advantage, as you can just see, caught him through turn 8. Just how slow Sam is. He's just struggling with the traction at the moment. And you can just see the lift off from Matty that he had to do. eBay picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Ooh.
Again, another one of our lead drivers picking up a needless penalty. So Matty does get the lead, and eBay Boy follows through, and Matty will not have DRS. So watch eBay Boy try and get the job done down into turn 3. You can see the DRS circle green. Oh, that was close to contact, but managing to pull it up in time. Janet Lee comes into the pits now and makes their first pit stop as well. Meanwhile, eBay Boy does get past Matty. So important for eBay Boy, but unfortunately his race is now compromised with that 3-second time penalty.
It is 100% race. He can try and pull it out. He can try and make that 3 seconds back up, but it will be a difficult task. Jennifer, as you said, pitted Medi down to back of the grid. This is not what he'd wanted. He'd be hoping, because it is double points more or less, to claw that championship deficit down. It was 17 points. He needs to leave here. Well, Matty needs to leave here more. I think 26 points or clear. I'm not entirely sure. You might correct me on that. eBay Boy sets fastest lap of the race. He is flying out there. He's on the back of the letter P. He's on the back of Brian Bromley. He's letter P. I'm surprised he's caught up to the back of Brian. He's on fresher tyres, but he's on a compound that is 2 steps harder than Brian. But he's going to try to make the move into turn 2. He does. Yeah, gives Brian a little push to the left to try and make sure he doesn't get a good exit. But Brian has got a good exit. He will have DRS. And the letter P here, his move that he wants to try and clear these cars while he's on the harder tyre hasn't worked out. eBay Boy might even have a look. No, eBay Boy slots in behind, gives him a little push, just to let him know he's there. And it is still Brian Bromley P2. Liquid Jake currently loving life just clear of this train. But these cars, they've got to make good while the tyres are in a good condition, because as things stand, they will be flying compared to the hard runners. But those mediums will start to eventually start to equalise with the hards as they start to wear more. Be quite a few more laps before that happens, but they do have to be careful of that. Litter P's almost pushing Brian Bromley around the last couple of corners here at the Red Bull Ring. He's going to make the move into turn 1. He risks giving Brian DRS down to turn 2 or turn 3, but he's going to make that move. Compromises his line through turn 1. Brian will take the wider line. Brian will have DRS now, as will eBay Boy, and surely this will be perfect for both drivers to get the move done. Letter P goes left, keeps the racing line. eBay Boy's going to make it 3 wide into turn 3. Surely not. Up the inside goes eBay Boy. He has the best tyres out of all of them, and he gets through on them both. But he now won't have DRS. Brian Bromley will, as will the letter P, as Mathieu passes his teammate of Dark and Shadows. Brian Bromley going back up the inside of eBay Boy. Letter P is there. Letter P backs out of it. Brian Bromley's gone a little bit deep. And eBay Boy does the old switcheroo, as Crofty would say. And he's back up to P2. But this is costing them time to Liquid Jake, who is currently 1.8 clear. But as we know, that gap doesn't mean much as Marty picks up 3 seconds, because it can be very easily cut back down. Dark and Shadows was 1.8 seconds clear, and he's now down in P6. So this race, we're not even halfway through. There's a long way for these drivers to go. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see fatigue starting to set in as time goes on.
Was the P thought about the move down the inside at the final corner, but you can just see Brian's not liking those soft compounded tyres with the 10 lap wear on them, and the letter P will now get the move down the inside at turn 1. I don't know if he'll actually have DRS for from the car in front. Actually, yes he does, so you'd be thankful for that. Mathieu now needs to get past Brian Bromley down and around the inside. Brian, that got close to contact between him and the letter P. So these guys, Mathieu just needs to play it safe. He cannot afford to have a DNF, especially with Medi down in P16. This is the best chance Mathieu can have to clinch this Tier 2 championship tonight. And up into P4. So all that battling between these guys has allowed eBay Boy to just clear a little bit and just slowly start to chase down Liquid Jake. And that gap now is under a second. And Liquid Jake did have a bit of clean air, but he's now going to be joined by company in the form of eBay Boy, as eBay Boy will get DRS down this start-finish straight. As we have a look, Nato, the quickest lap at the moment, quickest in Sector 2 and Sector 3. Might have been darkened in Sector 1, but the move for the race lead, eBay Boy on Liquid Jake down the inside, and should be a very easy move. It'll just be a matter of if Liquid Jake tries to get the switch back. It was an alright exit out of turn 3. You can see the toe, but I don't think had DRS on, so may have, but decides to stick in P2. Matty and letter P now. So Matty will see what pace they have. Dark and Shadow, who led this race early on, just in the mid-pack at the moment, and maybe just struggling a little bit with the medium tyres. Needs to close the gap a little bit. He's in a little bit of danger of losing that 1 second. As we've got Brian already coming in off those soft compounded tyres. That forces Nat to go a little bit wide, but I thought Brian was going to go a little bit longer than that, so clearly the soft tyre's not working well. So what tyre does Brian go on now?
Yeah, that's a good question. He's pitted very early. He's given rid of those soft. I mean, I say early. Liquid Dragon did 16 laps on them, but he's done 13 laps. He's gone back onto the softs, so he's possibly doing soft, medium. But that would put him on a 3-stop strategy, which I don't know if that would be the quickest around here. What's this? Is second pit stop. So he's got to do a 3-stop race at minimum. So interesting choice there from Brian Bromley. Not sure I quite follow his line of thinking, but then again, I'm not the one in control. I'm not the one knowing how he feels with the cars. Marty V picks up even more time penalties for his track limit transgressions.
Yeah, Marty's having a bit of a shocker, unfortunately. He can't keep it within track limits, so not sure if he's got any major damage. And it's not coming up that he does, as he lets... he's not letting the leaders through. He's letting Medi and Jenna through. But yeah, you can see Marty B started 19th up to 17th. But unfortunately has just not had the race he wanted, and 9 seconds worth of penalties. Even with the if we do get a safety car later on, he's sort of going to be stuck with 9 seconds anyway. But eBay Boy hasn't broken Liquid Jake as of yet. Still 7/10. Liquid Jake just wants to try and hang on. Let eBay Boy use his medium tyres. Just let him carry him through. As we've got Darkest, Letter P. We've got the two Red Bulls going into turn number 3. You'd imagine Dark and Shadows wouldn't want to do anything too badly, knowing that Matty can win the championship tonight. As it will be Matty AU who does get DRS. You'd imagine his teammate wouldn't lunge. He sort of protects him a little bit from the letter P. Stops that move from happening from the Alfa Romeo driver, and this order stays Matty, Dark, and letter P, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. NATO in P6. After that spin early on at this particular corner, he's done an alright job to recover on those soft compounded tyres, and he's actually nearly caught the back of this train as well. So just watch for NATO, same as Buster. But again, you can see from 6th down to 9th, all those guys have penalties at least 3 seconds. So it's going to be interesting to see how Liquid, Matty, Dark, and Letter P manage their warnings as well. Don't want to pick up a silly warning, trying to maybe fight it for a position that it's not quite there, as we're very close to half race distance here in the Enduro round here at Austria for Inter's Tier 2. And it looks like Dark and Shadows now does get the position on Matty AU. But again, it's a question of if he got the exit. And again, he didn't get the exit out of the corner that he would have wanted. So Matty, again with DRS, should have the move done down the inside at turn 4.
Yeah, he does. This is costing them time, though. The gap between them and Liquid Jake was about just under 2 seconds a couple of laps ago. It's up to nearly 2.5. So these guys need to work out who's going to lead the train and who isn't, and go from there, because they are losing time to the leaders hand over fist. Now, I'm not going to say who, just on the off chance anyone is listening into the stream of the drivers, but one of these 18 drivers is currently underfueled. One of them has got the yellow fuel light on. I won't say who, because again, don't give it away to any of the drivers who are listening in, but someone currently will not make it to the race or make it to the end of the race on a fuel tank of fuel, and they're obviously hoping for more safety cars than we've had. But yeah, Liquid Jake's doing a fantastic job to keep within DRS range. His tyres are older, they are a step harder, but he is keeping within that DRS range. He's slightly losing touch now. Perhaps eBay Boy might be trying to put the boosters on, but Liquid Jake, he's doing a fantastic job in the Aston Martin team. I know he joined the league a little later into the season, as Dark and Shadows goes for round, I think, 3 or 4 at this point, trying to pass his teammate into turn 3. He's actually got the exit better this time, so I think Dark and Shadows will finally keep his position ahead of his teammate. Brian Bromley did set the fast. Sorry, just didn't say Brian Bromley did just set the fast lap of the race, so he is absolutely flying on his fresh set of softs. So he is one to watch, although he will be having to do a 3-stop race.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's going to have to. He's going to be sort of the quickest driver out there in terms of pure race. Problem is, he's going to have to eat up a lot of pit lane time to sort of make this strategy work. So I think he's realised. I think he was sort of hoping the softs could go a little bit longer, but he was obviously struggling, especially with the train that the guys were just slowly getting past him. But yeah, Dark and Shadows finally getting that move up into P3. The thing was, he was actually able to take the racing line into turn 3 instead of the inside line. That was always hurting his traction, so he was able to finally get the line that he wanted. Problem is, Matty AU is now behind him with DRS. Darken doesn't have anything, so you'd imagine the Red Bull will go back fast, as that was a little bit cheeky. I think Matty was thinking he'd take the racing line. These two have got to be careful. As I said, Red Bull can claim both championships tonight. You don't need to have a silly manoeuvre like that, especially with only one McLaren and one Aston up nearby, where we've got the other McLaren and the other Aston all the way down in 14th and 16th place. So just got to be a little bit careful.
They've got to be really careful. It would be a needless accident that would needlessly cost them a chance to claim the championship. As you rightly said there, Mehdi's still only in P14, so he's not made up ground after his early incident. But we are at lap 34. That would be lap 35 of 71. So if this was a normal 50% race, we'd be saying, it's the final lap of the race, or the penultimate lap of the race, and we'll be getting excited to see if Liquid Jake could hold on. But they've only just reached half distance. From now on in, it will be uncharted territory for most of these drivers, because I highly doubt many drivers do a full race distance in their spare time on this game. So this is where the fatigue starts to sit in. If they're on a wheel, is the force feedback starting to hurt their shoulders? As Mathieu doesn't go for the move on his teammate, stays behind for now. Are their shoulders starting to hurt from the force feedback? If they're on a controller, are their fingers starting to get tired? Because they will do in the next 10 laps. Take it from me, who's done a lot of different enduro rounds, a lot of different tracks this season. It is very painful. It can get very, very painful very quickly. So this is when we start to see mistakes start to set in. You'll start to see the track limit transgressions starting to go up as people, they've got into a rhythm. They know this track by now. They've done a lot of laps around it, but they're starting to get tired. Their concentration's starting to wane. They may be getting hungry coming up to dinner time for those, at least on the eastern states. So people have to start being careful. This is when the mistakes creep in. And when mistakes creep in, that is when you are punished the most. Just to put it out there, eBay Boy has also now just dropped Liquid Jake out of DRS range. So Liquid Jake has been dropped 1.2 seconds now. So eBay Boy putting those medium tyres to good use and starting to put the boosters on to get away.
As we see Nato, the second of the soft runners that decided to do the second stint on the red wall tyre coming into the pit lane. So went a couple of laps longer than what Brian did on his first stint, but again only getting about 14 laps. So goes to show sort of how well Liquid Jake was sort of managing his tyres, considering that he went 17 laps when we had the virtual safety car. So he was comfortable sitting in that train. But yeah, fantastic driving from Luke, and as I said, he's well clear of the battle behind. They've eased up a little bit, the Red Bull pair, so I think Matty's just said Darken's maybe a little bit more pace at this point in time. Just follow your teammate, get DRS, and see if we can close in on Liquid Jake, who he's done quite well. Remember, Liquid Jake started 8th, he's now up in a P2. So he's gone a soft and a hard. So you'd imagine Liquid Jake's next tyre will be the medium compound tyre. You'd imagine around lap 50. So he still has to go another 13 laps on this compound tyre to make the two-stop work. I don't see anyone getting home from here. Swiss Lord boxed off his 30-lap old hard tyres onto a set of soft compounded tyres. So as he's got to take these over 50 laps, and I don't see him doing that.
No, I agree. I highly doubt he'll be able to pull that one off. Even NATO, I'd assume, would pit again. He's got to do 34 laps on mediums, which would put his mediums very much at the end. I think Liquid Jake's hit the dreaded 25% for his hard tyres. It would make sense he's done 20 laps on them, and that's probably why he's fallen off the back of eBay Boy for whatever reason on this game. Your tyres hit 25%, and if the car ahead doesn't has tyres that aren't on 25%, very suddenly you are dropped. And Liquid Jake has not only been dropped, he is being caught by the likes of the two Red Bulls and the letter P. So Liquid Jake about to come under threat from the cars behind. Once they hit the 25% mark, they will be neutralised, but they've probably got a little while to go yet on those mediums. But Liquid Jake, he's done well on those hards. As you said, he did very well on those softs to get them to 17 laps. And we won't know if that was his lap he was due to pit anyway, because he pitted under virtual safety car, so he might have even elected to go longer had we not had the VSC. So, yeah, good job for Liquid Jake. Swiss Lord does a 6.9. He's also a lap down, so just to be careful, Swiss Lord. Sure, he will be, but Dark Shadow is not quite in DRS range of the Aston Martin. He might just slip inside going into turn 3. No, I think he's just outside. So, not quite able to do it for Dark Shadows this lap, but he'll no doubt have it at the end of the lap. And he needs to get back up to P2 to drag his teammate along very nicely. Speaking of his teammate, Mathieu going to the inside. Will he make the move? No, he backs out of it. Doesn't want to give Liquid Jake another lap, potentially being clear of DRS. So Darkened Shadows and Matty and Letter P all on the back of Liquid Jake. Jake did make his bed, you know what to lie in it. When he made that early pit stop, I was shocked he went to hard tyres. He's only one of, I think, about 3 or 4 drivers who will use the hards throughout this race, but he is now going to come under threat. He could drop down to P5 in the next few laps. Will he elect to pit soon? As you said, I don't think so. I think he's got to run a little longer if he wants to make it to his next stint and have a tyre that will be comfortable to the end.
Yeah, as Voidy you can see in 13th on 25 lap old medium tyre, so that's sort of the range where Jake wants to get. So you're looking at about lap 45. So he still knows he's going to 6 laps, but that's not going to be his concern at the moment. He's got the pressure from the Red Bull driver as Darkened Shadows gets the move done down the inside. Does he get the traction? He does. It's Liquid Jake that doesn't. Matty AU needs to follow his teammate through, but didn't quite get the traction himself. So Matty will have to stay in P4. So So still hanging in there. 4-car train now for P2. eBay Boy is now 4.3 seconds clear, which is actually clear of his 3-second penalty. So eBay Boy driving very, very nicely at the moment as NATO gets past centre on the brand new medium tyres. He's about 4.5 seconds off of Brian. So Brian probably close to coming in again for another pit stop. So I think Brian will probably see the medium tyres to the end, but he needs to make those softs last, say, another 5-6 laps as well. But lap 40.71. So we've got just under 32 laps left to go in this one. eBay Boy out in front, but we've got a fantastic battle for P2 at the moment. Dark and Shadows, Liquid Jake, Matty AU, and the letter P. And Liquid Jake sort of on the tyre that's a few laps older. And as long as he can just stay within Darkened Shadows DRS, I think he should still be fine.
He should be fine. Yeah, he should be able to just peg along to the back of the Red Bull. Red Bull will use its mediums to get up to past Liquid Jake. Will he have anything left to go after eBay Boy? Potentially not. The question is, what will the drivers go on to for their final stint? As Sam gets past J to E Carly, I will double check the race director. I know eBay Boy's done 2 mediums, as has Dark and Shadows, as has Matty AU, and as has Buster. So those 4 drivers have got to choose a different set of tyres. You'd think they're going to try and hold out for a set of softs, but do they risk what Liquid Jake did earlier and do an undercut onto the hards? Yes, they'll be on a worse tyre, but they might be able to get quite a few laps in on the undercut before the other drivers come in if they want to make a soft last. So we've seen the soft tyres not only lasting 13, 14 laps, 17 for Liquid Jake, so those drivers have got another 10 laps. They've got to do close to 30 laps in those mediums, and they will be feeling pretty rough towards the end as Granny and Senna are swapping places in the lower end of the top 10. Granny gets past the Williams driver. So these drivers now, they've got to be in a mode of tyre conservation and looking after them, because all of them have got a very long way to go before they can even think about putting on to another set of tyres. Brian Bromley is probably the one that's thinking of his pit stop next. He's on 11 lap old soft tyres. He'll probably give it another about 5 or 6 laps if he can, and then maybe go back onto a set of the mediums. So tyre strategy, as always, is coming up to be a big factor in a 100% race. As I said, I love that so much about these races. 50% race is basically you do medium hard or hard medium, and maybe sprinkle in the soft if you had a bad qualifying. 100% races, you have to be tactical with what tyre you're going to use, when you're going to use it, and we haven't seen one virtual safety car all race. So it's very clean from the tier 2 drivers. So Granny and Senna are going side by side into turn 9, which is a bit of a risky move. Senna backs out. He will have DRS down the first start-finish straight. So that was very risky. I was talking about how we hadn't had many safety cars, and they were racing as if they were about to cause one. But thankfully, they have not done so. They've been able to keep pretty much line astern, and I'm sure that battle for P9 will continue onwards. It's all pretty quiet out there. It's not quiet as things, massively quiet, but it is fairly calm and stable. Senna and Granny are really fighting hard for P9, fighting it for it as if it is a fight for the lead. So yeah, eBay Boys gap slightly coming under now. Dark and Shadows just gaining a couple of tenths on the same lap old tyre. So there won't be a tyre deficit. There won't be one that has better than the other, unless it'll be purely down to driving style and setup. That'll be the only difference in their tyre percentages. So it's getting calm out there, but we still have another round of pit stops to go, and I think that is when we'll start to see some really crazy things happening.
Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on this Senna Granny battle, because they were side by side for about half of the last lap. So they're doing a good job. Obviously, both same age tyres, 25 laps, so they won't exactly be feeling great. Granny, neither of them are sharing the data, so I can't actually tell at all. So, but yeah, this having a good scrap, and Sam 11 lap old medium tyres. So remember, he stayed out on the hard tyres the longest out front. So he is really closing in on this battle, as we got NATO and Brian. So I think Brian's sauce has just given up the ghost, unfortunately. NATO on the 7 lap old medium tyres. So solid job there, as Senna and Granny are still fighting. Sam's now into this cheeky battle as well. We're right on board with the AlphaTauri driver. A little bit wiggly from the Ferrari of Granny, but I'd imagine probably won't have the pace. I say that down the inside. sorry, down around the outside, I should say, and got the move done. So Senna gave him just enough room for great lap time. As I think Senna just gets out of the way, he's going to allow Sam to maybe have a bit of a go at Grenny as well. So we've got a tight battle up front, but it's a bit of a DRS train. These two are battling as Marty picks up another 3-second time penalty. He's up to 12 seconds. Thankfully, he's a fair way away from getting disqualified, but yeah, I don't think he'll be picking up positions at the end of this one, as we've got Sam down the inside. You'd imagine at turn number 1. Got to be a little bit careful. Can he pull it up? Grenny will go for the switch back. We'll have DRS. Didn't get the best traction, and that's just because his tyres are 14 laps older than what Sam's are. Won't be close enough to send the move down at turn 3. And Sam should have the better traction out of the corner. Yeah, you can just see that Ferrari not liking the exit of turn 3, but he's got the run. He'll get DRS, but he's not going to fight Sam. I think he'll just try and stick behind if he can. But yeah, meanwhile, these 4 are... Well, actually, I say 4. You've got Buster. No, sorry, that's a lap car. So I was sort of wondering that train got a little bit bigger, but no, unfortunately, it was Marty B having to get out of the way, and Swiss Lord as well. So they done a good job getting out of the way of the leaders. Remember, if we do get a safety car at this point in time, those two can stay out because you'd imagine everyone else will come in. They'll get their lap back. But yeah, still a big train here. And they are on fresher tyres, but they won't want to get into this battle for what is effectively P2. As we say that yellow flag, just as I said something, Sam in the wall at turn 1, but another virtual safety car. But if you're any of the leaders, you come in, you get it. Oh, actually, that's the thing. If all these guys have done, medium, they have to go onto a hards or extend the softs. This is absolutely perfect for Liquid Jake. He has not used a medium tyre. If you're Liquid Jake, you come in now, you get a medium tyre on, and that gets you to the end of this one. And he is coming in. Absolutely. Oh. No, sorry, they are coming in.
Matty stuck it out.
Matty stays out. Surely you take advantage of the virtual save. No, but it ended.
Oh, it ended.
It ended.
It's a short one.
It's a very short one. eBay Boy would have gotten a lot of use out of it. So Matty AU, he will take the race lead. He'll be on pretty old tyres compared to the rest of the guys. But if we do get a safety car later on, we could see Matty flying home on a brand new set of soft compounder tyres. But Dark and Shadow, he's going to take those 25 laps. We have not seen a driver get anywhere close to that. Brian's on 16-lap-old softs, but you'll just see the difference between a new soft and an old soft. But Sam, unfortunately, DNFing, so obviously trying to break Granny. Obviously, just had the moment through turn 1, and unfortunately, that is him out of the race. We're down to 17 drivers. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Sam leaves the session. Really unfortunate. He'd made it 45 laps. Didn't make it a 46th. As Buster gets down the inside of Grenny on a brand new set of the soft compounder tyres. So we're still safety car free. We've had a couple of ESCs. So we know the safety cars are on. As we've got Brian Bromley coming into the pits for a set of, you'd imagine, the medium compounder tyres to get them home from the end. But having a look, Nano's in a good spot as well. 11-lap-old mediums. I don't know if he'd be able to get them home, but in any sort of decent shape. eBay Boy on the hard compounder tyres, though. That's going to hurt. Meanwhile, Dark and Shadows on softs. They're going to really die at the end. So we've got all these different strategies. No clue how it's going to end. And can't wait for the last 20-odd laps of this one.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely fascinating. We've got another yellow. That is Quiet Cake, who's gone up to the exit at the last corner. He's kept going. Don't see any visible damage. Not that I can see from this camera angle. It looks like he's kept going. So you've got to see Mathieu's plan now is to go long, put on a set of softs that will make it to the end, because as you said, Dark and Shadow and Buster have both risked a set of soft tyres that we've got to try and do an extraordinarily long stint compared to what we've seen from the field so far. And eBay Boys have to go hard. So Liquid Jake definitely in the driver's seat right now, but we wait to see what Matty will do. NATO might try and stick it out on those 12 lap old mediums. He's got to do another 23 laps. The Shadow sets the fastest lap of the race, no surprise there. We do have those on 30 lap old tyres, I should say. 34 laps for Voided Cornet, so he's definitely trying to do a puncture challenge. It feels like 34 laps is incredibly long on a set of mediums. So the mediums can make it to the end. They'll be feeling pretty rough-ish, but they should be in decent nick. But Dark and Shadows and Buster, not entirely sure what their game plan is here. They're possibly hoping for a late safety car after everyone else is pitted, but they're not making it to the end on those soft tyres. They will hit a cliff, and when they hit that cliff, it will be game over for them. So Liquid J currently in a good position. Mathieu currently championship winner as things stand.
Oh,
all the way down.
sorry.
Ooh, yeah.
Bit of contact between Brian and the two Williams. So Brian is on the fresh, hard rubber, and the two guys medium. So Brian didn't actually have a set of mediums left, maybe. So he decided to go hard instead of mediums, which is an interesting call. You can see a lot of guys down that list on your left-hand side of your screen are over 25 laps on their medium tyres. So you feared they would have been right to get to the end. So for whatever reason, he hasn't done that. Liquid Jake, fastest man out on track, and you can just see he's hounding Dark and Shadows on the soft compounded tyre. So this will absolutely screw Dark and Shadows' race if he gets passed by Liquid Jake. But again, it's just those two. So DRS, they'll easily be able to keep swapping. Meanwhile, we'll mention as well, Sam's wheel, unfortunately, as you saw in the chat earlier on, his wheel turned off at turn 1, so that's why he's out of this one. So, wasn't an error, it was just a clear technical malfunction, unfortunately. So, hard luck for Semi. He had a medium and a soft, he said, as well, fresh, so he could have been competitive at the end, especially if we did get a safety car later on. But unfortunate for Sam, will not score any points in this endurance round. But looking at eBay Boy, he's only about 5.5 seconds off of Matty AU, who Matty still needs to make another pit stop. So Matty and Nada will be hoping for a safety car. But again, soft compounded tyre should be very nice indeed, as we'll have a look at Matty. He's had an absolute shocking race. He's only qualified 11th, had wing damage on the opening lap, and he's still in 13th, but he is on an old set of the medium compounded tyres, and he's having to battle with Voider. As we got Callie, I think, in the pit lane for a change of the tyres. We've got Medi now in as well, so that's going to drop him down the field. Medi's having an absolute shocker. Well, his championship rival, Matty AU, up in P1 at the moment, but again, it has to make a pit stop. Looking at the gap, Granny's about 25 seconds off in P8, so Matty will come out in P7 at worst. So
he's coming in. He's in.
Oh, Matty's in.
He's in. So he's going to go for the softs, I would assume. That's still pretty long, a set of softs, but he has built up a decent enough tyre delta, I guess.
Oh, Liquid Jake.
Seconds. Oh.
Now the lead car picking up a 3-second time penalty. So Dark and Shadows is in the box seat without any pens at the moment. As where does Matty come out? 2.2 for the pit lane. So he's going to come out behind Buster. He's got a Swiss Lord, the lap car behind. So Matty AU, how far off the lead is he? 17 seconds, but on a fresh set of the soft compounded tyres. So he'll slowly close in. He has to keep it penalty free as Liquid Jake closes up to the back of Dark and Shadows. Liquid Jake now has to start making moves due to the penalty he just received. As a lot of drivers coming in now for the set of the soft compounded tyre. So clearly that's what the drivers want to be on. You can see the penalties on your screen for the top 6 having a 3-second time penalty. And then further back, Granny, Jeneth, Callie, Senna, Quiet, Swiss Lord and Marty all got penalties of their own.
I'm quite surprised that Shadows and Liquid Jake haven't caught up to the back of eBay Boy. eBay Boy on the back now of NATO. He's on fresher tyres, so you expect it to be a pretty textbook move. I thought they'd have caught up a lot more, considering that especially Dark is on the McLaren that's 2 steps softer. So that's interesting. As Liquid Jake does get past Dark and Shadows, he will now take the lead of the train. You can see eBay Boy, who's being massively held up by NATO through turn 3 there. Really, eBay Boy needs to get this move done this lap, but he's had a pretty poor exit, and he won't get past the Haas. So this could be Liquid Jake's chance to close up to the back of eBay Boy. eBay Boy, who is on a set of tyres that will make it to the end, probably in the best shape compared to the rest of them, but are going to be a lot slower for most of this last part of this race. So Liquid Jake needs to make good now, and he is. It's 1.1, 1.0. Surely he'll be within the DRS range. He is within that coveted 1 second as NATO picks up 3 seconds for his track limit transgressions, which puts him on 6 seconds. But Liquid Jake has critically caught up to the back of the McLaren. He's within the DRS range, so eBay Boy needs to get that move. Needs to get that move done ASAP. To think he'll be into turn 3, but Liquid Jake, Dark and Shadows are now on to the back of the McLaren. They say 3 is a crowd, and I think it's about to get very crowded here in the battle for the lead because Liquid Jake all over the back of the McLaren. Will he go for the move already? Surely not. Surely so. eBay Boy pushes him to the inside. He's on the marbles. He's got to be careful as Liquid Jake. McLaren tries to brake later. Does brake later. Liquid Jake shoves him to the outside a little bit onto the curb. No harm there done. He now needs to get past NATO ASAP. He's in the slipstream. He's using some battery up the inside. Liquid Jake takes the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix, and that could have been the move that wins him the race because now the other cars are stuck behind NATO on those older tyres. So Liquid Jake now needs to get out of DRS range through sectors 2 and 3, and then hope that the Haas can hold up the cars behind for just a little bit longer to help give Jake any chance of winning this race.
Sorry, as we saw, I was on board with eBay Boy having a big snap. Thankfully saving the car as Dark and Shadows nearly ran up the rear of him, as Dark and Shadows obviously, luckily enough, getting that move done. So up into P3 now, so yeah, it's going to be interesting. What I might get you to do, Luke, towards the end of this one, we'll start calculating the championship points in terms of where everyone is, because as I said, I think Matty is still clear of Medi in terms of actually can take the championship tonight. So we'll just need to keep an eye on that gap towards the end of this one. Still got 17 laps left in this one to run. And at the moment, we've got a 4-way fight for the lead. We've got a yellow flag. That's Marty B. He's somehow spun into pit lane. And I think he's about to get balked. No, he's still going, but he's got a lot of traffic.
He's stuck on the curb. He's beached. He's beached. He's beached on the grass. He's going to get disqualified because he's going to stop. He can't be set to track.
He's had an absolute shocker, has Marty B. And unfortunately, this will be his race end. You can see him trying all the while. We'll leave that battle because, and these guys were trying to make a move. The yellow flags were out, so I think Darkened may have had to back off, or one of them had to back off. So we got eBay Boy ahead of NATO now. So Marty B still not disqualified. He's lucky.
Yeah, I don't know how he's
eBay
not.
Boy. Yeah, eBay Boy. And Darker, that got very close contact between the Red Bull and the Haas. But we're going to head down out of turn 3 now. Liquid Jake has a 1.6 second lead with only a 3-second time penalty. He still falls behind Dark and Shadows. But Liquid Jake having a superb race, and he's probably on the best tyre that you want in this last 20 odd laps, as Marty B finally gets disqualified from parking in a dangerous position. So thankfully that car will clear. But yeah, Marty, absolute shocker tonight, unfortunately. And unfortunately, not sure why he sort of ended up in that position, if it was just a self-spin or not. But unfortunately, that is our 4th car gone from this one. So we've got 16 laps left of this one. So we have eBay Boy and Dark and Shadows fighting it out, seeing that they can try and close in on Liquid Jake. The gap's 2 seconds now. So, yeah, it's going to be tough. As Dark and Shadows down around the outside, easily on the racing line, breaking into turn 3. Should have the exit. But be interesting to see how those soft tyres are sort of holding up for him. But, yeah, we'll wait for that. I'll quickly grab a drink. Lukey, I'll get you just to cover for the next lap or so. But it's looking like Dark and Shadow, eBay, NATO, letter P could be a fight for who wins, who ends up on the podium.
Yeah, massive podium fight, as you said, as things stand. I am looking at the driver standings. I can't work out the constructors because there are too many different forces at play. I think Red Bull might do enough to clinch it as things stand. We've got Red Bull in 2nd and 7th, and an Alpine in 6th and 13th. I think if Matti gets past Buster, I think it is more or less sealed for Red Bull. But the driver standings, obviously, this is a 50% race, 100% race, so you get more points for it. So for the next week's feature race at Abu Dhabi, which is the last race of the season, 50% is, I think, the last race of the season. Let me have a look. I believe it is. I'll double check because I always get lost on the calendar. It is. So 50. So Matti AU needs to leave Abu Dhabi here today 26 points clear, because you get 24 points for a win and a point for fastest lap if you're in the top 10 in a normal race. He needs 25 points. So he needs to be 26 points clear at the end of tonight's proceedings to be confirmed to be champion. He's currently 17 points clear, so needs to outscore Mehdi by 9 points. Currently, if the race finished right now, Mathieu would be P6 and Mehdi would be P10, which would not be enough to give him the title. P6 will get him 20 points. P10 for Mehdi would be 12. It would be 8 points, so they'd be on 25 points with 25 available, and Matti has one less race win as Nathan does finally pit. So Matti has one less race win as things stand. So if it was to be done on countback, if next week Mehdi won the race and Matti DNF'd, they'd be on equal points, and Matti would lose the championship because Mehdi would have more wins. So as things stand, and Mathieu he's just been put in the position to win the championship. His quite kick has crashed. Is that going to be a safety car? It's another virtual.
Only a virtual. He somehow crashed. Has he crashed into pit lane? His car's sort of stuck in the no, his car's gone. That's a retirement on track?
Oh.
Not sure what happened with Quiet Cake, unless he sort of left the session. Didn't see he left the session, but he's retired in pit lane, so doesn't look like he's.
Does he go wheel? Is he a wheel driver? Has his wheel failed in the pit lane?
Not sure, but his car's driving. I'm pretty sure, unless that's the other half of. Actually, that might be the other half of NATO. Yeah, it is. Sorry, that was my mistake. So that might have been pit lane. Sorry, it was the right team. It was just the wrong car. But yeah, third virtual safety car. We haven't seen a safety car at all. Does anybody? I think NATO will be kicking himself because he boxed about half a lap too early. But I don't think we'll see anybody in. There's sort of not enough really to gain. So I think we'll all remain exactly the same.
Don't think anyone's going to pit either. Don't think anyone's going to risk it for Chalky Biscuit. No point sacrificing now.
No.
Track position. Not enough laps left to make up the time. It's you lose, I think, about 10 seconds under yellow flags. But I am.
Oh, contact! No.
Oh, and Kylie's got another drive-through. Contact was made between eBay Boy and letter P and Shadows. I can't see any visible wing damage. They still have all their end plates, but they might have some either
eBay Boy
lime or yellow.
eBay Boy front left end plate. So that's really going to hurt in terms of pace, and he's on the hard tyres already. Darkin's not sharing his data. What about letter P? Letter P does have wing damage to both sides of his wing. The end plates are gone, but it's going to be enough to affect it. Buster is not quite there, but that's really going to hurt letter P, and I think eBay Boy is in as well. So this will help Matty move up positions. So if
the championship can stand.
Yeah, exactly. And Mehdi is like 40 seconds off of these two guys, so they'll be on soft compound tyres as well. So that's really hurt those guys. So just obviously where the delta ended, it just caught a couple of these guys out. Obviously, Callie gets a drive-through penalty, but it just obviously caught up. It'd be interesting to see if there's any post-race stewards investigations, just sort of what happened, but really unfortunate. And they're both coming out on the soft compounded tyres for an 11-lap sprint, but that's really cost both of them a potential podium chance. And Matty could find himself on the podium. He's only 1.3 behind Buster. Fresher softs, and Buster's got a time penalty as well. So you'd imagine it could be Liquid, Darkened, and Matty on the podium. And Liquid's got 3.4 seconds on Shadows. So Liquid Jake looking at a great race victory. Remember, he started P8, he's P1 at the moment, and he's doing an absolutely fantastic job.
He's being fantastic, and you've got to imagine as this race goes on, those mediums will only get better compared to those softs. Those softs are going to have to run 25 odd laps. Liquid Jake's going to have the same age tyre, but those mediums will be so much more superior in the dying stages. So you think that gap is only going up. Mathieu has made his way, or will hopefully make his way onto the podium. And I think I can't quite do the calculations off the top of my head, but as things stand, with a Red Bull 2-3 and a Alpine 4th and 12th, I think that will be enough to clinch them the Constructors' Championship. I may be wrong, but it'd be 74 points for 74 points for Red Bull with a second and third, and a P4 and a P12 for those down the grid would only be 28. So they would clinch the Constructors' Championship in a domineering fashion. They would double their points lead. So as things stand, and I cannot stress this enough, as things stand, we have 10 laps to go. Red Bull clinch the Constructors with a race to spare, and Mathieu will be your Tier 2 Inters Racing League champion for Tier 2, Drivers' Champion Season 6. So as things stand, it is going to be a fantastic night for the Red Bull Racing team, but it is not over until the Fat Lady sings, and anything could happen between now and then. Obviously, we don't want anything to happen, but you can never rule it out in this sport called Formula 1. So interesting here. Mathieu Ayu's just got to keep it clean. He's got 9 laps between him and a World Championship. So he just has to keep it within the white lines, keep it out of the wall, out of the devil, out of anything, and he will be champion. As Letter P and eBay Boy are continuing to fight. They're both pitched for a new front wing and a new set of tyres, and the fight is still continuing, albeit in the lowly depths of the top 10, P7 and P8. They probably will catch up to the back of Brian Bromley by the end of this race as well, so they'll be battling for P6. So it's looking good if you're a Matty fan or a Red Bull fan this season. It is looking absolutely fantastic for you, but there's still a long, long way to go.
Yeah, and I have a feeling Liquid Jake has pretty much got that P1 unless he gets track limits. 4.4 the gap now, so he's increased that gap by quite a margin. We'll have a look at the lap. Darkened was a little bit quicker in the final sector, but as you can see there, Liquid Jake 2/10 a lap quicker on lap 62 than the Red Bull driver. So, and you can just see a lot of that time is in the middle sector, just where you need the bit of tyre grip. So, unfortunate for. I will not necessarily say unfortunate. It's just the soft tyres just not quite working out for him, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Sorry. As Buster and Matty AU are going side by side. So Matty AU wants this P3 on track. I think does have DRS and should easily get the move done down into turn 4. So Matty AU on the podium step, not counting penalties. And I have a feeling he should start pulling away from Buster, being that their tyres are about 5 laps older. But we'll have to obviously wait and see. But Matty in the prime spot to take out the Tier 2 Championship tonight.
He is. He's in the driving seat. He might be listening in. If he is, he will know full well that it is his championship to lose. 7-8 laps to go. It's been a fantastic race. It's been pretty clean. We've had 3 virtual safety cars. There hasn't really been many sort of crashes caused by driver-on-driver contact. But Liquid Jake looking like he is about to pull a fantastic victory. He's been pretty quick, has Liquid Jake, this season. I don't believe he was here for the full season. He joined midway through, or he got picked up midway through at least. I know Jake, he is a very quick driver and tends to be very clean too. This will probably definitely give him a bit of a spring in this step. I don't think he's going to be here next week, because I think he's going on holiday. But for his final race of the season, it will definitely be a good way to bring it to end, and it should catapult him quite high up the driver standings, as Mehdi and Senna are fighting Mehdi into the top 10, but I think it's going to be too little too late, because it will be going Mathieu's way as things stand. P3, 34 points. Oh, him and Senna. Oh, no! Oh no! I cursed it by saying there'd been no driver contact.
You definitely cursed it. And if that wasn't the final nail in the coffin prior to that incident, it most certainly is now. So Mehdi's gonna have to come in, change a front wing, He's going to drop Jenneth, and he's actually going to drop a lap down too. So
that's gonna hurt.
if we have a late safety car, he has to box this lap. So Medi will not be able to improve because it'll be a lap down. So what a shocking way to end his championship challenge. But yeah, just the contact with Senna. We sort of went off track to sort of around the outside trying to get that move done, and it was just a little bit silly. Unfortunately, obviously, before they even got to the braking zone, and Medi, unfortunately, will be coming in. No, he's going to stay out. I think he has to.
No.
Oh no, he's coming in. He just cut the pit lane as well. So that it could be a penalty his way, but I think he's had enough. He's had enough bad luck. It all started on lap 1 when he had to come in for wing damage, and he's never been able to recover. And we haven't had any safety cars either to help him bring it back. So that's why we've got 3 drivers that are a lap down, because we just have not had a safety car, and because it's such a short lap around here, you only need a couple of mistakes and a couple of extra pit stops. That does put you that lap down, unfortunately. So, yeah, unfortunate. But as I said, Medi's been really good to watch all season long, and just unfortunately falls at the final hurdle. But watching this Buster Matty battle, so 5 laps left to go. I'm assuming Matty would have gotten told that Medi has been in the wall, so he's in the prime position at the moment. Medi will try and pinch Buster's lap, but even then he's got to be inside the top 10 to get the points. So probably won't be the case. But I don't think Matty will really worry about Buster too much. Obviously, 3 seconds for Buster. So he's going to get that position one way or the other. He just needs to keep it on track.
Yeah, he just needs to keep it calm, keep it clean. They're probably feeling very tired right now, and because of the lack of safety cars, they're putting that, some people here may not have hydrated in the last hour and a half. If they're thirsty, they're going to be feeling it. They haven't had the time to even stretch their legs if there was a safety car. So congratulations to everyone that has finished, and especially congratulations to those that finished without a time penalty, which is quite a rare breed at the moment. So, yeah, a few more laps to go. Dark and Shadows is on the verge of that 3-second gap, but I don't think he's going to have quite enough in him to keep it up. He's going to be close, but not quite close enough. But still, a P2 is nothing to laugh at.
I wouldn't exactly say that. He was 8/10 clear that last lap.
Okay.
And 8.7 from Liquid Jake on the medium tyres. Dark and Shadows would have been in a 7.96 something. So, yeah, I wouldn't count this battle out just yet. Gap's gone back up a little bit, 3.8 seconds, but Liquid Jake must have made a mistake on that lap, or not sure what happened, but that's a big chunk of time, 8/10 to gain back up. So, as I said, maybe Jake's medium's just starting to feel a little bit, and as I said, it only takes one mistake to lose a whole chunk of time. So we'll keep an eye on it, but Matty and Buster still fighting out for this final podium spot. But again, Buster's penalty, unless Buster thinks he can get the penalty removed, that's why he might be fighting a little bit harder. But we'll wait and see.
Yeah, really careful with NATO's catching up.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They got NATO. Like, NATO's still got a penalty. NATO is on 6 seconds worth of penalty, so he's sort of really not going to factor into it anyway. But he's on really fresh soft tyres, so if he gets past these two quickly, he might be able to gap quite a chunk, and if these two collide, you never know what may happen. But as I said, Matty doesn't want to do anything too stupid, so he'll just happily sit. As I say, with the other Red Bull, it's back up to 4.2, so it might have just been a little bit of a mistake from Liquid Jake, and he just put the pedal down just a little bit to make sure that he has that 3-second gap.
Yeah, he's turned up the wick a little bit, I think. Just to make sure that he can win this race. He's got the lapped car of Jennifer Lee alongside him, but Jennifer, I don't think he's going to do anything stupid. Jennifer is a pretty rounded driver, not the dirty type in the slightest. So good on Liquid Jake, good on them. Yeah, he's struggling in the final sector, which is weird for Liquid Jake, because he got lap 69. Haha, funny number. Jennifer Lee is actually going to try and unlap himself. Oh, no, looked like he was, but he stays behind. Oh no, he's not. He's going to go for it. I think Liquid Jake's going to let him go. Don't think he's going to have much choice for a last pass on fresher tyres. But he is a lap down. Jennifer Lee now needs to make sure he does not hold up the leader in the slightest. But he is. That gap is crumbling. 3.1 seconds. Jennifer Lee may be influencing the end of this race. As Matthew, as Buster's passed by Matty and Nato. Nato goes around the outside. Gets both of them into the podium positions. Much fresher tyres, but does have those 6 seconds worth of penalties, so at the moment won't be doing much. But Matty is going to be fighting here. He doesn't want to be fighting. He just wants to be He just wants to be clear and not have anything happen to him at the end. So he's the 10th off losing this win. So Dark and Shadow's got to try and put the burner on. If he has any tire life left, he needs to get it done. He's within the 3 seconds. He is currently losing. Liquid Jake's currently losing this win with 2 laps to go. On the penultimate lap, he goes. Dark and Shadows, from out of nowhere, has suddenly got within that 3-second penalty. So that is absolutely incredible stuff from the Red Bull driver.
Yeah, you can see on screen now that Liquid Jake lost a second on that last lap. A lot of it in the first sector. So I thought maybe it must have been Jeneth that maybe passed. Obviously, you were sort of keeping an eye on that battle, but yeah, it's really going to hurt. And I think Liquid Jake's just fallen. He's sort of lost his momentum a little bit, and it's 2.6 seconds. He's got a lap and a half to try and catch back up. If anything, he needs Genesis DRS to sort of get that gap a little bit there. But we'll keep an eye on this battle as Buster and Maddie still fighting yellow flag, but it's got to be too late. As I think Genesis, did he spin or just get out of the way? No, he spun. So thankfully Liquid Jake was far enough behind, but it's 2.4 seconds as we're going to round the final corner, and as Buster picks up a 6-second time penalty, so that's pretty much done. So Maddie should be finishing on the podium. So we start our final lap. Liquid Jake, 2.3 seconds clear. Last lap. You can just see another half second taken out of Liquid Jake by Dark and Shadows. Yellow flag in this second sector. Oh, because we got a bit of an issue up here as Callie in centre. But we want to keep an eye on this battle. It's 2.6 seconds. It's the battle for the win at the Enduro round at Austria Inters Tier 2. We have 2 sectors left to go.
He's doing very well, Liquid Jake.
If they've got any battery, they've got to use it now. Brian Brumley will pick up the fastest lap and is inside the top 10, so we'll get that point. Letter P's ahead of Matty AU, so Matty AU will actually lose P3, sorry. As we're going to keep an eye on Liquid Jake. Can he win this one? It's 3.06 seconds. He's got one final corner to navigate. He might actually get a little bit of DRS. The Williams gets out of the way. Liquid Jake crosses the line first, but I think Dark and Shadows will just have it. Dark and Shadows wins the Enduro round by 0.035 seconds. Great lap. Wow. You thought Liquid Jake held on. Letter P, after the bit of shenanigans off the VSC restart, it still ends up P3. Great effort. Letter P, P3. Matty in P4. Nato in P5. eBay Boy in P6. So just even having those fresh soft tyres only doing 11 laps massively caught that battle. So Letter P rounds out our podium. We'll wait till everybody crosses the line. Maddie in P12, Maddie in P4. So I'm pretty sure we are happy to announce that Maddie AU is your Tier 2 Drivers Champion. So fantastic effort from Maddie AU. Would have want to finish on the podium. But as I said, I don't think he'll really care about that. Maddie AU is your Drivers Champion. We're just going to wait on the Constructors title. So Battlecat will probably let us know about that in terms of quick sums. But Brian Bromley picks up Driver of the Day. He did get fastest lap at the end there. But congrats to Matty AU for the Drivers Standings of Drivers Championship. We'll switch over to this screen there. But great effort from Dark and Shadows. You thought it was done. It was about 4.5 seconds at one point, but Dark and Shadows did it, and he did it by less than half a tenth. He got that margin down by. So very, very close. Liquid Jake, shout out to him though. From P8 to P2, he nearly held on. He'll be a little bit disappointed that he didn't win that one, but still massive pool of points for Liquid Jake. And Letter P, great drive, great comeback drive. I'm having to make that third stop with the wing damage. But your results on screen: Dark and Shadows, Liquid Jake, Letter P, that's your podium. Matty AU is your Tier 2 champion, finishing in P4. NATO in 5th, eBay Boy in 6th, Buster in 7th, Brian Bromley in 8th, Granny in 9th, and Voida Cornet rounding out our top 10. Callie, Medi, just unfortunate, he just did not have the race tonight. So unfortunately, he will be probably runner-up. It'll still be a bit of a fight between him and Buster for P2, but unfortunately, Medi, that's his season done and dusted. Center Racing in 13th, Jenneth Lee in 14th, Swiss Lord in 15th, and then our five retirements, I should say, White Cat Sam, Battle Cat Luke, and Marty B unfortunately had an absolute shocker and then got himself beached and disqualified. So not a race to remember for Marty B, but we still got one round left to go in Abu Dhabi. But what a race we saw. No safety cars, 3 VSCs, and we still got some good action throughout the track as I think you've just put in the chat, Red Bull did actually take out the overall constructors, the Tier 2 constructors as well.
They did, yep. They had to outscore Alpine by 7 points to fend off an Alpine 1-2 in Abu Dhabi with fastest lap, and both Red Bulls were ahead of both Alpines by quite a comfortable margin. So I'll wait for Bash to confirm, but from what I was able to quickly ruffle up, it is a fairly convincing win for Red Bull in the constructors' standings.
So as we wait for these guys to come in, so Red Bull does takes 2 championships away from Aston Martin, as you can see on that poster. Tier 2 belongs to Timmy's team, Red Bull. But as I said, we still got a lot. Yeah, still got a long way to go in terms of the overall. But it's a big chunk of points that Red Bull gained on Aston Martin tonight. So we'll wait for those standings to get put into the Discord. So obviously keep an eye on that. But as we take a bit of a breather, we'll get our top 3 in. Actually, we'll get Matty in as well. Got to get Matty in as well. We'll have a chat to our podium. We'll start with the letter P. Fantastic result from yourself. P3 in the Enduro. Didn't quite end with that third pit stop after the wing damage off the VSC restart, but great pace at the end, and you just managed to keep it clean. No penalties, which got you that third place, so well done.
Thank you. Yeah, it was just such an intense race. It was insane.
How was it driving? Because obviously no safety cars, you don't really have a chance for a break except for coming into the pit lane. So that's about 20 seconds. But how was it actually driving it? Obviously, and you were pretty much stuck in a train for a lot of that race as well. Just how hard was it to sort of just keep your concentration up?
It was pretty easy to keep the concentration. Just the saving, lifting off the throttle, knowing when to back out of moves, and eventually you'll save up enough ERS and you can get past. So yeah.
Just talk us about that. Obviously, that last VSC, that little incident. Obviously, just got congested at turn 3. Was it just people slowing down for the delta and just catching other people out?
Well, yes, Dark and Shadows parked it right on the exit of turn 3. So me and eBay Boy both rammed into the back of each other. So we both had to come in, and I was mad. I was so mad. That was probably P2, P1 provisionally. So I came in and just pushed immediately. No brakes, no anything. Just full concentration. Marty, who DNF'd, obviously, he was engineering us, defied him 2 times. Said that we'd catch Brian, lap 69, caught him on lap 64. So just insane race pace from the end.
Yeah, you guys were really quick at the end, and as I said, I thought that battle for P3 was sort of sewn up with Matty, but you guys sort of came out from nowhere and you managed to pinch it. So obviously a little bit hard done by, because as I said, who knows what it could have been in the race, but a big effort from yourself to recover like you did and finishing on the podium. So well done.
Yeah, obviously them battling had something to do with it. So hats off to those 3 for battling. I appreciate it.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, great action for us watching it as well. But yeah, congratulations on your P3.
Thank you.
All right, Luke, you want to have a chat to our P2 driver who, at the very last minute, we thought he was going to win, but just misses out?
Yeah, I will. Thank you very much, Scotty. Liquid Jake, Jake. Only you could lose a race, a 100% race by less than half a tenth. Only you could do that in 90 minutes of racing. How was that race from your point of view as a whole?
Oh, it was fun. Like to start from what, like P8 or something, and just slowly get to the front, and then I didn't think I'd be able to keep it, but I think the last like 20 or so laps, Darken and I both had no fuel. Like that's kind of why, yeah, like the times are changing a lot because I was lifting and he was lifting, and then I kind of pushed a bit to try and make him think that I was okay. But then he would push at the same time, and it was kind of just a battle of fuel. I think, and that last safety car definitely saved us. But I think that might have been the case for the whole field because no one behind Darken seemed to be catching up either.
Yeah, there was certainly, I was watching eBay Boy, certainly was having fuel issues for the majority of that race. Those last few laps, you had a few sort of lapped cars, back markers. Do you think they could have cost you the win, or do you think in the end Shadows had just enough on you?
No, I was hoping, like, I was trying to get them to help me because I was on low fuel. I didn't mind that they were in front of me. I wasn't actually trying to get past them when I was like slowing down up to the corners. That was just me lifting, and then like trying to just stay like lift but stay in their DRS so I could just get carried a little bit further without having to burn the fuel. And I was hoping at the very end I got the DRS towards the finish, and I thought for sure I was gonna win because I think I was already like just on 3 seconds ahead of Darkened, but yeah, he must have got a good exit on the final corner.
Yeah, he definitely did. It was as I said, very close. Only you could lose a 100% race by half a tenth. I take it, are you not going to be available for next week's finale in Abu Dhabi or on holiday?
Yeah, I won't be there. I'll be in Japan.
Yeah. So tell us how. I know you weren't racing from the start. How have you felt your DRS season's gone as a whole? Are you happy with how you've come along, or are you? Is there any regrets you have coming to the end of the season?
Come on, Licky, enters. Got to get
Yeah.
got to get the league right.
Yeah, sorry. Got so many. Inters season 6. Any regrets? Or are you happy with how you've done after your mid-season signing?
No, I'm happy. I mean, I've gotten good points in the important races. Like, was this double points? I think I won Singapore when it was double points, and now I've come second in this. So, I've done well when I needed to. I have done bad in some races, but at least in the double points rounds, I've showed up.
Yeah, absolutely. Well done, Jake. P2 on the road. Fantastic job from you there. Congratulations.
Cool. Congratulations to Maddie as well.
Yep. Scotty, do you want to take our race winner?
Yeah, Dark and Shadows. Fantastic drive from yourself. We thought you were sort of nowhere with those last 10 laps, but obviously we heard both of you were fuel saving just a little bit. And take us through that final lap. Obviously, it was hovering around that 3 seconds. Did you think you'd have that race win?
I definitely didn't. I don't know what was happening, but I was watching Jake's time the last 15 or so laps, and it just kept going up and down, up and down. And I don't know. I got through the whole race without getting a single warning.
Wow.
So I used one of those warnings to get a very, very good entry onto the last straight. Just to get a bit of a boost to get into that 3 seconds right at the end.
Pretty self-reported.
That's a bit dodgy.
Oh,
No, you can see. I haven't even gone off the track really.
as I said, that's the thing. You save your warnings up. We saw that with a lot of drivers picking up penalties, and as I said, that's the advantage that you get, that you pretty much, you're able to find that time. You're able to sort of just get that little bit of extra time because you've kept it clean the entire race. So I think it's a great strategy call, and it obviously worked out great for you. But talk us earlier on in the race. Obviously, you were pretty much in a train nearly all race long with that group of 6 or 7. Just talk us about how that was racing in that pack.
It was very frustrating being in that pack because I think I had the pace to kind of get away, but being Austria, a minute long a lap and 3 DRS zones is crazy. So you're just stuck in a train. It's tough to do anything really.
Yeah, because you looked strong at the start. You actually had about I think a 1.7 second lead at that time, but the guys just slowly reeled you in, and obviously, sort of once you're in that without that clear to that DRS, you sort of just stuck, and you're sort of just constantly making moves back and forth, I suppose.
Yeah, I tried to get out of the DRS as quickly as possible just to have a bit of open air, but eventually people will just tow themselves towards you, and I just thought, I'm not going to burn or anything. I'll just let them catch up to me. And then I saw that letter P was out of the DRS of the people behind him, so I was trying to work together with letter P, but you don't like you don't really gain that much time by helping each other on this track. So people just ended up catching up anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that nonetheless, you just pipped him at the end, and it was a great race to watch. But also, you guys getting the Tier 2 constructors. Just talk to us about that, because you and Maddie have been really strong. Obviously, Maddie winning the drivers, but yourself as well. Since you've come in halfway through, then this is your 5th win of the season. Also, you've been absolutely dominant since you come in, and yeah, just talk us through being constructors champions.
Is that confirmed? I didn't know that we were.
Yeah, we've done quick maths, and yes, you have, depending on reports or whatnot. But you guys outscored our team because you finished 1st and 4th. So yeah, you cleared that barrier for that final race. So you have won the Tier 2 constructors as well.
All right. To be honest, I
Congratulations.
haven't been paying attention to the division constructors at all. Since joining, it's been all about the overall standings, overall constructors.
Hey, but you've scored a lot of points tonight to help towards that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting how that final ends up next week. But yeah, great points tonight, and great win again for yourself. 5th winner of the season, I think, tonight. So yeah, well done.
Thank you, and well done to Maddie for being the division champion.
Yeah, definitely a great effort. Luke, do you want to have a chat with said champion P4 tonight? Many unfortunately having a bit of a poor race, and that was enough to seal the Drivers' Championship for Matty AU.
It certainly was. Matty AU Inters, Season 6 Tier 2 World Drivers Champion. How does that sound? How are you feeling right now, my man?
Yeah, pretty good. Just tried to just not do anything stupid, really. It's so easy to get, warnings around here and touch any of the curbs and the car just flies. So just tried to, just be normal on track, I suppose.
Were you really thinking about the championship throughout the race? Were you being extra careful, or were you just being balls to the walls, run of the mill?
I was just being careful the whole way through. The long race and a lot of points on the line. So tried to be cautious. And I don't know if you saw, but at the end of the race, I actually nearly died. Letter P hit me in the rear, and Jesus, I nearly went into the wall. Yeah, he was trying to get past. It was like a 4 or 5 car pile up into the last one, the second DRS. So yeah, that was good.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, you wrap up the Tier 2 Constructors Championship. How are you feeling for next week in Abu Dhabi? Are you going to enjoy it, just have some fun, or are you going to go and try and end the season on a high?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure the overall's still up for grabs. So try and get as much points as possible. But try and go for the win. But it's not really a good track for me. So hopefully just a top 5 should do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations from me, Matty. That has been a fantastic season, a fantastic drive, and you are the champion. Anything you want to add there, Scotty?
No, as I said, I've sort of watched him also the majority of the season. And as I said, Matty, you've been fantastic. You were worried a little bit because you missed a few races towards the start, but yeah, the consistency was the one that brought it home for you. So congratulations, well done.
Yeah, easy. Cheers.
All right, and that just about wrap us up. Luke, thank you very much for hopping in with me. It would have been a long, long race without you in the box, so a big thank you from me.
Yeah, no, of course, anytime. I really enjoyed it. It was a fantastic race, and thank you for streaming it, Scotty.
No, that's all right. It was a great race tonight. Obviously, by the barest of margins, does Dark and Shadows picks up the race win from Liquid Jake, and the letter P ending up on the podium. So we're two races down. We've got the Quick Boys tomorrow night, Tier 1. Luke, I believe you're racing tomorrow night. How are you feeling around here?
I like Austria. I've done Austria in all three of the leagues I race in this year, so I know the track fairly well. Another enduro round, that will be tough. I'm on controller, and if I've learned anything from prior enduro rounds, it can be very tough on my shoulders, but I'm looking forward to it, hoping to do fairly well. It is Tier 1, and as you know, Scotty, you've raced in Tier 1 before. They are real hard people to race. They are very, very quick. So it's going to be an interesting race, and I'm looking forward to it. Are you racing tomorrow, Scotty, or are you hiding from the full race distance of Austria?
Nah, you'll see me on track as well. It's definitely going to be interesting. We saw how close it was tonight. You've just got to sort of keep it out of trouble, but obviously no safety cars tonight, so hopefully we can have the same tomorrow night and get a great battle up front. But yeah, so you'll see both of us in the seat tomorrow night. So I think we got JP and I think Marty B in the box tomorrow afternoon. So I think so, yeah. So JP and I know I did see it before, but then again, JP still has COVID, so he might be a late out, unfortunately. So we'll work out who comms are tomorrow afternoon, but we'll definitely have a great pairing for yourself, for the guys to watch tomorrow afternoon for Tier 1. But it's been a big thank you from me, big thank you from Luke. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow afternoon at 5 Australian Eastern Standard Time for our final race of the Enduro round. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.